I me say left and right federation there, yo. Left and right a federation there, follow me now. Left and right a federation there, yo.
Federation, you so bad, you too bad, you too bad.
The sound name Federation, sound name Federation, the sound name Federation. Red Bull Radio rocking the nation. The sound name Federation, you know the sound name Federation. Big sound Federation. I'm Max Glazer, me rocking the nation.
Na 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 oh, na 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 no no na 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 no no. Hey, don't run with me sound, don't run with sting sound. Whoa, don't run with me sound, don't run with sting sound. Whoa, hey sound boy, you better hold your corner. This you sound like Lord, we move on ya. Any sound boy, them are going under pressure. Whoa, so ring the alarm. Another sound is dead and gone. Whoa, ring the alarm. Another sound is dead and gone. Whoa, don't run with me sound, don't run with sting sound. Whoa,
because I want dance sound in the land. I miss a one dance sound in the land. I miss a one dance sound in the land. I miss a one dance sound in the land. I miss it under 16, I miss it under 17. But on the guitar I can't come in. I miss a natural and nice up the scene. Yes, Mr. Sting, you are nice up the scene. So go.
Rock with the sound, the run with sting sound. Whoa, the run with the sound, the run with sting sound. Whoa, hey sound boy, you better hold your corner. Sting sound like God we rule on ya. Any sound testing mago in under pressure. This your sound like Lord we rule over. Ring the alarm. Another sound is dead and gone. Whoa,
because I told general in the dancer. For me say told general in the dancer. Don't not tell them and then jump and prance. It's not mess up as well you feel make them know for dancer. Because we come in on the dance we are the king champion. Circle down stick or you are but number one. In this a dance we are right the version. It's all the girl love to wind them bottom because told general in the dance.
Hey, na 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 no 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 nine nine na 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 no no. Hey, so ring the alarm. Another sound is dead and gone. Whoa, ring the alarm. Another sound is dead and gone. Whoa, so run with me sound, don't run with sting sound. Whoa, don't run with the sound, don't run with sting sound. Whoa, na 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 na, no 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 no. Whoa,
they better jump and flick, they better jump and flick. Right about now they better start here. Jump and flick, they better jump and flick. Right about now they better yam. Yes, so we go check it up on reggae music. Come people and better rock up to it. Come is a steam for your reggae we are lick.
You are now in tune to the Federation sound on Red Bull Radio. My name is Max Glazer, and you may have noticed that we just started this show off very differently than we've started off any show in the history of this show. And that's because we have a special guest in the place. I want to welcome the great Sting International.
Bonjour, my friend.
Thank you for joining us. And so, all right, there's so many things that I want to talk about right now. But so this show is going to be different. We're going to sit down with you from start to finish. I'm not going to be up here cutting and scratching. Not that I really cut and scratch anyway, but juggling and mixing. We're here to sit down with Sting International, talk about your productions, all of the music you've been involved in, some of the history of New York dancehall and all of these things. And that was why we just started this show off with a Sting International anthem in a dubplate style. Just please tell me what that was.
Appreciate it. Well, that was just a dub done by Red Fox and Naturally, the original duo for Down in Jamaica on a sick rhythm back in the 80s. On the Stalag. And of course, that was one of the anthems of mine when I used to play at the Underground. When Underground is like the Mecca reggae and dancehall in the 80s into the early 90s. That's what David Levy and I did numerous shows. We first brought up Shaba, Shelly Thunder, we had Supercat. This is the stage where reggae artists had a chance to be exposed outside of the regular Caribbean or Brooklyn community. This put them on basically the world stage, because New York was the world stage, no matter what. So that was like the beginning of the explosion of dancehall around the world, because underground was a place. We had 2,000 people every Friday night, and Richard Long sound system, which is the same as if anybody who of that era would know of the Paradise Garage or Studio 54, Empire Roller Skating. This is the guy that did the sound system. So we had the Richard Long sound system that allowed us to play music in ways you've never really heard it, as a dancer or a person who went to the clubs. So to be able to hear reggae on that sound system, on that level, played the right way, and then be an artist to actually perform in front of that crowd at the underground, it was like no other. There's been nothing else like it since.
So then that to you is really like this turning point and meeting point where Jamaica met New York, and then I feel like that was the gate to the rest of the world for dancehall.
Yeah, absolutely. That was New York. If it wasn't for New York, reggae would not be where it is today globally. Period. And underground was one of the most important parts of that.
So then let's deal with kind of like the history of the underground, because later in the show I want to talk about kind of like how you grew up and how you ended up even there doing that. But then, so you're talking about from the late 80s. So you're talking about what years were you in the underground?
Well, the underground was 87 to maybe 91, somewhere around there.
Right, which is only 4 years, which in the scheme of the broader history doesn't seem or feel like a long time.
Yeah, but if a lot of things like ska, rocksteady, these are small, a few years in time where they made such an impact in music. And the club life is, underground is like that. It was a short span, and if you're looking at, in real time. But any club that lasts more than 3 years is considered successful in the business. But just the fact that we had a reggae party in Manhattan that lasted more than 3 years is huge, because what came with the atmosphere,
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially in those days when the drugs are running hot.
Yes,
gangster business.
I mean, that association is still here with the music, and a lot of it is because of those
stigma,
days.
Yeah.
Yes, that stigma is there because of those days, and that was why, like you said, it's such a big deal, because prior to that, if you wanted to hear this music and see these artists perform, you had to be deep in Flatbush, deep in Queens, and it was places that a lot of people were not willing to trot out to those places just to see a show.
Exactly. That was the beauty of Manhattan, and we had that platform.
And I mean, hip hop, obviously, even just being born in New York, but the city, downtown, like below 42nd Street, that had that same kind of like impact and gravitational force of like bringing even just hip hop, which was a New York thing, the different elements and people from all the boroughs, kind of to a central location when you talk about like downtown and Fab Five Freddy and those things. So this is just before my being able to go out to clubs time. So I missed it. So tell me where this was. Where's this located?
Union Square, 17th and Broadway. You know where the McDonald's is? Right by where the coffee shop is.
West Side.
Yes. It was right now. It's maybe a Petco or something like that.
Something nice and safe. Something very New York. Maybe it's a Starbucks.
No, I think it's still a Petco maybe. But it's right Union Square, right there. It's right in the heart of downtown Manhattan, or not too far down, but not way up either. It was like the perfect spot for that type of energy.
All right, so then musically, can you give me a song that we can play for people who like myself missed that era, that you really identify with that club and that
underground
era?
Themes? Well, one of the earlier ones that really kind of helped change where reggae was going it's got to be Shabba Ranks, Peeny Music Lover.
All right, well,
that's one right there. That's just huge.
I mean, and so that like when you look back at that time, like this is the soundtrack that's playing when you think of the underground.
Well, when I think of that song, the just the version alone, when I used to mix that in, when people heard that coming, as they heard the mix coming in, the place would just erupt and everybody just turned into mummies waiting for Shabba coming, you know? It was hypnotizing. And on the proper sound system, that's so important to what it was, the sound system.
All right, well, we don't have a Richard Long sound. Well, we not only do we not have one here, I assume that most people listening to us don't have a Richard Long sound system. But we're going to play some of this music and kind of illustrate people what we're talking about and where it came from. Sting International is here. It's the Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio.
Now when me was a little boy, my favorite ring game was this. Now all old people, come back to your memory. Give me all this on.
Whiny, 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 whiny. Too much. Even no star. In Jamaica there's a party. Beanie, beanie, boy, you come down and get a little man and whining. Whiny, whiny, boy, you. In Jamaica there's a party. Beanie, beanie, boy, you come down and get a little man and whining. Whiny, whiny, boy, you. Woman a soca, woman a rumba, woman a cha-cha-cha. Come now, it's Ella and Paula House and get up in a temper. No Jamaican girls are music lover. If a music, them wanna set them soul on fire. Cause in Jamaica there's a party. Beanie, beanie, boy, you come now and get a little man and whining. Whiny, whiny, boy, you. In Jamaica there's a party. Beanie, beanie, boy, you come now and get a little man and whining. Whiny, whiny, boy, you. Cause Canadian girls, them love the beanie, beanie. Come now, the London girls, them love the beanie, beanie. And all American girls, them love the beanie, beanie. Them have the dance beanie, beanie from Admiral Bailey. Have the whiny, whiny when they get Colonel Josie. With a physical mind, soul and body. Cause in Jamaica there's a party. Beanie, beanie, boy, you come now and get a little man them whining. Whiny, whiny, boy, you.
All right. Yeah, I can only attempt to imagine what that sounded like in there, because that rhythm alone is, like you said, is so heavy.
Yeah, I mean, that with familiarity always works. And for those who grew up knowing reggae will know that melody, whiny, whiny, came from the Kingstonians, from a tune back in '67. So immediately hearing that on top of a dancehall beat or a reggae beat of that style and the magnitude with the bass and the Berthas, you know, the bass speakers, and the clarity with bullet tweeters ringing in the air, is like, to hear that together is just like
that voice and Shabba's voice.
Yeah, and Shabba was fairly new at that time still, because we had brought him to the underground before, but on his second visit is when Peeny Peeny was out, Music Lover.
Oh, must have been
massive game changer.
Making me wish I was older. Usually I wish I was younger, but I wish I was just a few years, and I would have gotten to catch some of this.
I can talk about it and explain it a million times over, but you had to have lived it. It's
right, because that's it. Like, as you're talking about, obviously, for people who don't know, we could do a whole 10 hours of shows where Sting just talks about sound systems and audio, because I know that's something that's probably go over most people's heads. But a big part of that is, like, in those days, it was a communal thing. Like, you went to a place and gathered with people to listen to music, whereas now it tends to be like you plug headphones into your phone and not you, but I'm talking about most people. But so it takes that collective element and all of these things that you're describing. It's a lot more rare for people to experience music that way.
Yeah, I mean, you know, nowadays it's convenience, but it also compromises the integrity of the sound when you play with a laptop and, you know, this and that and computer and all that stuff. But yeah, it's lightweight, it's, you know, but I don't care how big of a sound system you have, there is a difference when you play from vinyl or something burned from vinyl. And it doesn't matter even how great it's recorded. Once you're playing it through a computer with these shitty DA converters, you know, by the time it reaches your sound system, it's still compromised. It's not the same vibe, not the same feeling. It is what it is.
It is what it is. So from the club is what propelled you into the radio, correct? Being at the underground?
Yeah, I mean, we landed there.
You landed at the underground, or you landed on the radio?
No, we landed on the radio. I landed at the underground too. That was, you know, it wasn't planned.
All right. Well, so then first, tell me the short version of how you even ended up bringing reggae to the underground.
Well, there was a party already that started. David had started this party some months ago, but we already like Ricky Warmington was promoting parties at Bentley's, like one of the first successful Manhattan parties. We had Silver Shadow. I did Red Parrot, Red Zone,
and so, but just so people know,
Latin Quarter.
So really, because I'm a reggae nut, we're talking to you about reggae, but your kind of musical expertise and knowledge, all these other places you're talking about, is much broader than reggae. You're talking about contemporary music of the 80s and the 90s at that time, not just specifically reggae, right?
Yeah, I played all kind of music, but we had reggae parties in Manhattan clubs at this time. This is this is after the Village Hut and Love People One and Club Illusion, Empire and in Brooklyn and all of that stuff. So we're in Manhattan now, but I was already playing in these clubs, so I had a following. And what happened is the underground started, and Yanni from Road International called me and said, "Yo, can you fill in? We can't play at the underground this weekend because, we have too many gigs."
You got some more money somewhere else. So.
I mean, I learned later that there was a little squab between them and David. And when I talked to Desi, I'm like, "Desi, I'm hearing some vibes. What's going on?"
So you got the call. You got the call to fill in.
Yeah. And when I called Desi's like, "No, man, go do it. So I happened to run into David at Superpower Records. This is the first time I'm meeting this guy because on the radio.
You had never met.
I never met him yet. I only got.
David was already on the radio at this time.
No, only doing commercials at Kiss.
The voiceover. So the
Rocking
voice.
You roll, that dude. So I'm hearing this. I'm expecting to see some English dude. When I see him, and then I see this tall brown man. So anyway, we're in Superpower and Ron is there. And Ron's like, you don't know David, because I done put the word out in Brooklyn and everything. I'm gonna do underground, so make sure, beepers, all that stuff. We put the word out.
Beepers, payphones on the corner.
Yeah, we put the word out. Yeah, so Ron's like, you don't know David. So I wind up meeting David then, and David's like, rude boy, we're gonna play reggae. You got Tiger, you got this, and then he asked me if you got house music, because you don't realize I'm a garage head in house music. So he's like, you got Marshall Jefferson. I'm like, don't worry, I got this, bro.
It was like a new party, so he was probably nervous. Make sure you were going to be able to hold it down. He didn't know you.
Yeah, because it was still developing,
right.
And it wasn't there yet. Because most of the guys who play there play mostly reggae and soul and stuff like that. They weren't completely rounded with like disco and house music. But me, growing up in New York, born and raised there, I'm a disco baby. I'm a house head. I'm everything. Went to all the clubs, so I know the music, and I've been playing the music for different crowds. So by the time it was underground time, I was ready for them. And, once I came in that weekend and played, at the end of the night, that was like, rude boy, you're my DJ.
Okay, so
that's where it started.
So that's how you ended up there. So then tell me how you got from there onto the radio.
Kiss came in because David used to cut commercials at Kiss.
So for the people who aren't from New York and or aren't old enough, we're talking about Kiss FM, which was
98.7.
98.7, one of the two original legendary black music radio stations that were first playing hip hop, and Kiss FM at the time was Red Alert was on.
Yeah,
on the weekend.
But Kiss wasn't a hip hop station.
Well, Kiss was
disco, R&B,
a black urban station,
right,
like an urban contemporary, probably.
Would Prelude be Days, if you know those labels.
Right, would probably be the technical term for it. And so Red Alert had a couple of hours on the weekends playing hip hop.
Yes.
Okay.
But he was dropping that 15 minutes of reggae.
Right. Okay.
And
so
that was everything. That was he had a lot of fight, from the American kids, blah 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 blah, hip hop, and coconut music and whatever. But he didn't give a shit.
But that's what I grew up listening to, and coming to reggae from hip hop, which I talked about a lot of times on the show. That 15 minutes that Red Alert used to play was like monumentally important to me.
Absolutely.
And he always made a point. It was a part of his show that there was like this 15 minutes of reggae. So then tell me from there how that then led to you guys being on the radio.
Well, that was a little, we came in through a different channel, and being at David used to cut commercials. Jay Dixon was like the head of production. That was like the voice of Kiss FM. Kiss FM. I can't even pretend to do Jay's voice.
It was like very Barry White.
He was the man. So he was in programming, and David invited him down to the club. So when he came to the club, he saw the magnitude. Because when he first came, and he'll tell you the story, because he said when he first came, house music was playing. So he's like, he sees a bunch of house heads, sees, whatever was playing. Then he said the reggae dropped. And when the reggae dropped, he's like, everybody just like transform. And all of a sudden it's like this is big dance hall party. And he's
Vibes.
like, yeah. But he's like, wow, this amount of people jamming to this music, this is something that's big. So after a few more visits, I guess he got in touch with Vinny, who was the program director at the time, and said, look, this is something you got to look into because this can work. So further down the line, he heard of one of the records that I was playing, which was Life Is What You Make It by Colonel Wright and Friday. And he brought that to Vinny. And Vinny took a chance and gave it a spin, or tested it, whatever, and it came out like number 6, most requested.
So people were feeling it.
Yeah, and then it became like a hit. First reggae song in radio rotation at that time, a dancehall reggae record. And it proved that, reggae has a place. So I believe there was one point where maybe Vinnie Brown and Charles Warfield at the time must have went to Jones Beach or something, and they noticed that nobody was listening to Kiss. Everybody's playing these reggae cassettes and mixtapes and all kind of stuff. And he realized the impact that, this is American kids. This is not just Caribbean kids or Jamaicans or whatever. So
that was the sound of the beach.
That was the beach at that time. No radio, tapes, mix, vibes. So he called Jay up immediately and said, look, call David, call Sting. We're going to put the show on the radio. Because we were trying to get it before, but that was a convincing.
So the idea had already been there, but that was what pushed it over the edge.
It was implemented already, but that's what made it happen.
So what year did you guys start on the radio?
I don't remember. It's got maybe 90.
90?
Could be 90, yeah.
And it was again similar to the club, to Underground, about a 4-year run,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, not a huge amount of years, but I can certainly attest to that's, like I said, growing up listening to Red Alert, and then when your show came along, and then on the competing station, there was Bobby Condors.
No, we were doing that long before Bobby and Pat was on.
But that's what I'm saying. But then when that came along, so you guys were then the only place on commercial radio probably anywhere in the country at that time.
Yeah.
Because New York was definitely the leader to hear, what did the show start out as? A couple hours? 2 hours?
Yes.
To hear 2 hours of...
It was reggae, but we called it hip house reggae. But it was predominantly reggae. We once in a while we'd play a little soca.
Right, but that was just
world music.
But I remember that because I have cassettes with that written down on it. I was like, such an odd description of the show, but I feel like it was like a 1990 marketing plan.
Because we didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves to music or any kind of genre, even though we focused it more on reggae.
And I can't imagine like the response of like the New York Caribbean community, Bronx, Brooklyn.
Oh man, it was
Queens.
Massive. It was nothing like it. We were able to play songs that were popular in the clubs, songs that were coming out, pre-release, all kind of. We introduced the first 2 songs that were really the reggaeton movement by El General, which I happened to actually record and mix. Dropping those on the radio for the first time, it's like no one's ever heard Spanish reggae played like this on the radio. So that was like, we introduced so many different styles and it game changes. If we didn't have the platform, reggae wouldn't be the same today. Reggaeton wouldn't exist like how it does today.
You've done a lot of work for the music over the years, and that's another thing that we're going to get to because we haven't even touched on any of the productions, but there's just such a wide range of things to talk about now. You gave me some info before we started, so I wanted to play something now that you said really kind of like symbolized like that era for you of the radio, and that's this Gregory Peck Pokemon jam. Which would never in a million years have gotten played on any kind of commercial radio anywhere.
You're right about that.
So how did this? Just tell me a little bit about this song and kind of what this meant to that era and the radio show.
Okay, well, Pokemon Jam, Gregory Peck. It was a rhythm. You had some. The thing about I have to give credit to Steely and Clevie, because they were always innovating from the days of Jammies all the way up to their own label, and Bobby Digital, of course. But this right here was just something different. It was up tempo. At that time, there was no reggae out at that speed, at that tempo. So to find a place to play it was a little strange. So I had to find a way to make it work. So I actually had this Pokemon jam. And then, you know, with the track the way it is, with all the percussion and everything, what I did is I took the record and did an edit, maybe a 7-minute edit. And I found a way to introduce it to the crowd where it wasn't just, here, take this. You know, I eased it in.
That's the disco side of things. Putting a 7-minute edit on it.
Right. You know,
that's the Paradise Garage influence.
That's what we did in disco and stuff like that in house.
But I think that a lot of people don't realize that in that era of New York, for someone like you to be involved in, you know, the foundations of reggae and dancehall in that era, but also as firmly rooted in house music and disco. I think because now all of these worlds are so separate, but like at that time,
they weren't that separate, you know, because if you really check it and you know the people that are involved, there's so many people of Caribbean descent mixed into disco and R&B and soul music for that matter. It's just not announced. You know, you have guys like Eddie Grant who were on pop stations all over the world and in disco, hard garage records, as well as known in the calypso community, you know. And there's people who wrote, who produced, you know, Thomas Bell. There's so many people that are intertwined within other genres of music that at the end of the day, even if you look at the party aspect of things, a lot of people, you know, who were patrons and even at that time, even though it wasn't announced, a lot of the gay crowd that were frequenting the disco parties were Caribbean, either their parents or they're from there.
But that was a place where, again, people could go and it was just about the music. So people of all kinds, shapes, sizes, and colors were welcomed into those worlds.
Yeah, places like the Garage help break down barriers of stigmas of people who like the same sex, you know, because at the end of the day, when you grow up a certain way and you see things a certain way, and that don't, you know, when you're around the music and then you see people for people, it kind of breaks down these stigmas and you kind of say, all right, well, you know, that's your preference. It's not my thing, but we can party together. And then you realize
you see the things that people have in common,
you see people
as opposed
for people.
to the differences.
Right.
And people relate and connect to the common, the interests, you know, like I said, the music and the sense of community.
Right.
And so like I said, so one of those things was then you had that, then grew that into this radio community. And again, this Gregory Peck record that we're about to play is something that is, you know, one of the first, you know, 15 records in as a young hip hop DJs in my little 15-minute reggae set, because of what you guys were doing on the radio.
Right. And this, you know, Pokemon Jam is really an underground hit or a Sting International record. It's not really a big record in the dance hall or outside of what we were doing at Underground or then Kiss FM for that matter. It was really one of my things that I particularly liked. And then eventually we had Shabba Ranks, Dembo, and all of that stuff, which is very, you know, important and pivotal because this is the blueprint of the sound of reggaeton. No matter how you look at it, when you play it, it's reggaeton. Between that, Gal You Good by Shabba, those two rhythms right there is what makes reggaeton.
Still to this day.
To this very day.
All right, so we're going to play a taste of this for the people. It's the Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio. We're here with Sting International. And if David Levy were here, he would say...
Rocking you!
Now this one called a Pokemon Jam. So whether you're a man or you're a woman, I'm mad we get mad, man. So all crew, watch me on, man. And this a Pokemon Jam. Man I know man I do the Pokemon Jam. This a Pokemon Jam. All of the posse get the Pokemon Jam. Cause this a Poco. And you no live down a Moko. And you no live down a Moko. Come and say come and Tim here do the Pokemon Jam. And Sharon do the Pokemon Jam. Wave your one and do the Pokemon Jam. Make them know you want a style and fashion. Cause this a Pokemon Jam. Come everybody do the Pokemon Jam. This a Pokemon Jam. Come everybody do the Pokemon Jam. Get mad everybody, turn your roll. And then you get in the spirit and show them that you know about Poco. This is a new one.
Pokemon jam. Watch the Kingston posse, I do the Pokemon jam. The Bannistown posse, I do the Pokemon jam. The Portland posse, I do the Pokemon jam. St. Pierre, Clarendon, them love the Pokemon jam. Come, I like the massive when no them can jam. This is the one name, the Pokemon jam. Just move your foot, your body, your hand. You shake your head, you move them in the combination. Cause this a Pokemon jam, Pokemon jam. Watch the massive do the Pokemon jam, Pokemon jam, Pokemon jam. Get grip, show them the Pokemon jam. Come everybody, me want you get mad on your roll, Sandra. Move your body and rock. Nobody go on like, are you a dead stop? This a Pokemon jam and everybody have to rock. Get in a spirit now, show them your motion. Come, Mr. Drum Man, beat the drum now, beat the drum. Sandra, start to move. Fire, voila, she gone in a spirit. Everybody rush rock. So, this a Poco, get in a spirit. On your roll, Sandra. Move your body, knock the drum, Mr. Drum Man. Rock it harder, give them the vibes, let them move up them structure. Turn your roll, hey, give me the coffee. White drum, pan the drum. Everybody know Pokemon jam, Pokemon jam. Cause everybody love the new brand new one, it's the Pokemon.
It's the Pokemon Jam.
Memories by the score.
Gregory Peck. Sting International is here with us. It's the Federation Sound. Red Bull Radio, redbullradio.com. So, and again, just even, like I said, that one is one of those that's been really important to me over the years. And even just listening to it now, after you kind of explaining where it falls in the context of that, the energy of it it's a crazy energy and so different.
We had a dance for that song at the club. You know, there was a dance, made a little routine. And once in a while, I'd leave the DJ booth and come out on the floor and do my little...
And I would imagine in those days, the DJ, you probably had to like climb down a set of stairs and go around the...
Yeah, absolutely. Long set of stairs.
That's why you made a 7-minute edit.
So I can get through the crowd and be back on time.
Well, that's one of those things, like, so just as like a total aside to any real important conversation, playing reggae, trying to get a bathroom break record as a DJ is like the worst thing because they're all like under 3 minutes.
You know, I've probably done that 3 or 4 times in my whole life.
Done what?
Actually leave the booth to go. But the thing is, I don't drink or hardly eat before I play.
Much like the same way you do radio shows, apparently.
Yeah, I wait until the middle of the session and then I'll drink something. I have some fruit or Twizzlers maybe.
I actually do that for the most part. I actually don't. I won't start off the night drinking water if I'm DJing like a 4 or 5 hour night, because I just don't want to be bothered with having a. I mean, but my go-tos, like I said, in reggae, there's nothing that works. But my go-tos were like Do I Do, Funkenteleki, records that are 10 minutes and over. And then, you know what? The only reggae thing, but only works like early in the night, is the Rude Boy Stewart Mega Mix, the Stalag Rhythm Mega Mix on vinyl. That was like a 15-minute.
Well, the only time I had to do anything like that is not for that purpose, but we started for maybe a few months. We did like an after-work party at the Underground. So 6 o'clock to 7, 8, I did like a pre-mix on reel to reel. And I just let that rock. I did a couple of different mixes. It was playing 2 hours of people are like strolling in.
Right, but so that means you only played 8 or 9 hours straight, probably, right?
Yep.
Well, you come from the days of real soldier work DJing.
Absolutely. I mean, my longest set was our last night at the at Club Shelter in 08 on Varick Street, like 20 hours.
Jeez.
20-hour set.
You played the whole 20 hours.
20-hour set. I think for that night, I believe Ian Friday opened up for the first 2 or 3 hours, something like that.
A little lightweight, 2 or 3 hours. That's the length.
No, you know,
that's the full length of most of my DJ sets. And mind you, we're doing a 2-hour radio show here.
I can't. That's why I don't play out like that. I can't. I'm not going anywhere to play for 2 hours. 3 hours. That's a waste of time.
Well, but also, I should also explain to people that in general, you don't play on a sound system except one that you built. So that also means that in order for you to play, you're bringing the entire sound system.
I'm bringing the sound system.
So for that, yeah, of course, you're not playing for an hour.
I'm not
or 2.
doing crossfades, and I'm not playing off of isolate. I have to have a crossover. I need birthers. I need tweeters. I need proper sound system to, paint my picture.
All right.
I'm not going to paint a picture with my thumbs. I need the brushes and the right canvas.
I remember this is a part of the story we're getting to in a few. I remember going to, I think it was the Diamond Party for the Shaggy album somewhere in the city, and it was the first time I had probably seen you DJ in many years. Because you're very selective about them. But there you were with a Yuri rotary mixer with knobs on it. Looked like you had brought your entire whole setup out to the party.
No, that was just 4 stacks.
All right. Well, I mean, sorry, I don't mean you brought everything that is in your setup, but all of the sound was being played by
what was proper for the room
by a sound system that you probably built from the ground up.
Yeah, man. Everything is custom, except for maybe the amplifiers. You know, I haven't built any amplifiers yet. I built crossovers.
You just don't have time to build a whole amplifier from scratch.
I don't have a big enough bench.
All right. Well, maybe when you find yourself with some more free time, be able to do it. All right. So I jumped ahead. So I want to get to that part of the story in a few. But one thing that I definitely wanted to touch on was the women in dancehall in that era, because dancehall even now today is still very traditionally male dominated.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got to give props to. I mean, one of the early ones out of New York, I have to say, is Sister Carol, to really stand firm amongst the men. You know. But then you have the earlier ones like Junie Ranks, of course, Shelly Thunder, who was huge, Sister Charmaine. Oh man, there's quite a few. My mind is just going blank now, but those are like some of the ones that were really doing it, you know, especially from the New York. Lady G, who got her, you know, her big bus through New York too. Oh man. You know, it's a tough business for women to be in this dominated scene, you know, because of so many reasons. But these are the ones who really like stood tall. Well, Sister Nancy, Lady Anne, you know, got to give props to them.
And I mean, you know, to connect it really to the era of stuff that we're kind of still in, that, you know, late 80s into the early 90s, Shelly Thunder coming out of New York was just like a massive, it kind of seemed to coincide with, like, when you're talking in rap, you're talking about like MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, and there was just a very small handful of women in rap, and Shelly Thunder really waving the banner for New York dancehall.
Yeah, well, Shelly, people know her more for Koof, but she's had massive New York hits before that. There were actually, people think a lot of records that were reggae hits besides Shelly Thunder were recorded or mixed or both in New York City, but people think they came out of Jamaica. I can go down a whole list of big records by Barrington, Barish, Shabba, you know, holy. But
well, Johnny Osborne told me on this show the story of that Budabai was recorded in New York. Yeah. And wasn't even, he didn't even know it was a Jammies thing at the time. It was recorded for Whitty's.
Exactly. And speaking of Sling Thing, Shelly Thunder's Sting and Shock. Sting in my sting and I shot. New York record. Most of that album was, I think her first songs, 85 Vision on the Woody label. That was New York songs, New York recorded. All the artists like New York, you know, Junior Wilson, Trevor Sparks, them guys, Major Mackerel. All of these are New York-based artists when a lot of those bigger hits were recorded in New York at HCNF Studios.
At HCNF, so you're talking about Philip Smart's studio, which was in Long Island?
Yes.
And so that was really your home base for most of the producing career, right?
Yeah, well, I started out at my house, in my bedroom, on my little reel-to-reel, editing and all of that stuff. And that's where I voiced a lot of people there. You know, Red Fox, Screechy, naturally Carlton Livingston, Barrington Levy,
and this
Mikey
was where
Jarrett.
This is in Flatbush?
Church Avenue, yeah. Church Avenue.
The original base.
Yeah.
Before Canarsie.
Did remixes, all kinds of stuff, right in my house. And it's only when Peter McKenzie, who used to come by the house studio all the time, who produced Fox's first two big records, Come Boogie Down and Down in Jamaica.
And Come Boogie Down was his first song.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And he's like, yo, I gotta carry up to the studio. Because I've been wanting to go up there for ages, but just never had,
That was the place. Like you, as someone in the middle of Flatbush making dancehall in New York, HCNF at that time is the place.
Right. So me and Peter went to Long Island, and we met Mikey first, because Mikey was on air at the time, and then he carried over to HCNF and met Philip. And, you know, me and Philip, yeah, man. I'm like, Philip, you have to teach me the board, because, you know, I've just been doing it at home. He's like, when you're ready. I said, I'm ready tonight, now. He said, all right, come tomorrow. And then I went tomorrow. And that was the beginning of...
And the next day, for about 15 years, probably.
It was a wrap after that. It was a wrap. It's like, all right, all I need to know is one channel, and then show me the buses. After that, because it's all the same channel, you know, 1 through 24, 1 through 48, whatever. The rest is navigating and, you know, what to do, where to patch.
Just learning it.
And I'm like, all right, thanks, I got it.
All right, so hold the story right there because I don't want to get too far from this. So I want to touch down and play Shelly Thunder Koof. So we make sure that piece of the story is told, and then we're going to move on to the productions. It's the Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio, Max Glazer, Sting International.
To all the man them who cheat on them woman, and why you know so the thunder stand again or do with a fry pan in her hand. Come now. Sometime a man forget, Koof again, Koof again, Koof. Sometime a man forget, Koof again. Sometime a man forget, Koof again, Koof again, Koof. Sometime a man forget, Koof again, Koof again. What do you mean? Maria man and him name is Ricky. From last month him a go on like him crazy. Come woman in time after 7:30 when sun a shine and the neighbor them I see get me so vexed and it get me so angry. Thunder get mad and decide to go on nasty. Drape him up and say listen to me now. You don't know that you fi come home early. Koof. And when you try to do for disgrace Shelly. Koof. I true me a woman take advantage of me. Koof. You want me neighbor them fi laugh off of me. Koof. You better move out or act properly. Sometime a man again, Koof again, Koof again, Koof. Sometime a man again, Koof again, Koof again. Sometime a man again, Koof again, Koof again, Koof. Sometime a man again, Koof again, Koof again. Him have a gal by the name of Rosie. Oh, tell me that no me friend named Mitzi. Sharon tell her who to Sharon no Beverly. Behind me back the whole of them a laugh off for me. Never say nothing, me just wait patiently. Me know me did that catch him and them girl Rosie. So one night me a wait and him Shelly can't see. Look on the clock, it a say 3:30. Jump in on me car, drive round New York City. Over Whitestone Bridge at the hotel named Capri. In the parking lot, say guess where me see. Now my man a stole arms and arms with him lady. Me jump out of the car and me drip him bodily. I say, you don't know you not fi cheat on me. Koof. I wish I do pose in your jewelry. Koof. I hear say she all have young belly. Koof. Are you a minor and a tree picking it? Koof.
Also, let's not lose sight of the fact that that's a song about Shelly Thunder beating her man up.
Yes.
About
violence in the dance.
Reverse
at home.
Reverse domestic violence.
Yes. That's all right. Shelly can beat me up anytime. I'll take a thumping from Shelly.
So that I so distinctly remember that album. It was Fresh Out the Pack was the album. I just remember like the visuals of the dance hall from that era are so strong. Like, I just distinctly remember that album cover.
Mm-hmm. Rohit International.
Yes, Rohit International. See, this is why it could go on for 7, 8, 9 hours.
Originally on Witty label.
Originally voiced and recorded for Witty, but Rohit was like a kind of semi-larger indie label that I think had major distribution. So the fact that Rohit put out that album was testament to the fact that Shelly Thunder was bubbling at the time.
It's like a Heartbeat and some of those like Payday.
That was taking it outside of the dance hall and reggae
into the mainstream
niche market.
Absolutely.
Definitely into the mainstream. Mm-hmm. All right. So I said that we were going to jump into the production, but I lied because there was something that we were talking about earlier that I also wanted to touch on and let people know. And so, I'm jumping in and out of the timeline.
Hey, brother,
here.
I'm following your lead. I'm just here hanging out.
When we were, so I sat down, this is one of those shows I really wanted to prepare for because I know a lot of your musical works, but kind of your history is so extensive that I wanted to delve into some of these other things that I didn't know about. And so when I was asking you about some of these things that we've been playing so far in the show, like records that were important in the club, important for you on the radio, and then things that were, like that Shelly Thunder, for instance. Mm-hmm. You brought this one up to me, Unmetered Taxi, Sly and Robbie, the Taxi rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, oh, which song? And you said, not the song.
The rhythm, just the version alone.
Used to flatten the place.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the intro alone. Taxi. Or even just the little syndrome roll. Signatures of Sly Dunbar.
And where are we talking about this? We're talking about in the same places we've talked about already?
Well, even later on when I was playing in the clubs, even today, you drop it today, it's gunshot.
I'm talking about the history of it, though, of when it
Well, it's dance halls, earlier clubs like ZX and stuff like that. Before I was old enough to actually play, or even Love People, because when I first was in Love People, I was 14 years old,
and
because
so
my sister got married and her reception was there.
Okay, so explain what Love People
Village
is.
Hut. Look, these are clubs. These are clubs in Brooklyn that were like the mecca for reggae music, and the platform that helped me get, heard in my later years, 16, 17, 18, whatever. When I was playing out, so Love People is super important, Village Hut is super important. Act 3 in the Bronx, Club Illusion, Empire Inn, where my first residence.
All right.
Super important.
All right. So of all these places, clubs that you've mentioned so far, Empire is the only one that I've actually set foot in myself.
Empire Inn? No, you're talking about
Empire Roller.
No,
you're not talking. You're talking about something different.
Empire
I'm too young.
Empire Inn became Club Illusion.
Okay.
Which became there's the one on Empire, same where Bobby was playing.
Yeah, no, it's called the Buzz now.
Buzz,
but it became something
Caribbean
else,
City.
Caribbean City.
Right, but
then it became the Buzz.
First it was Empire Inn, and this is actually
which is actually right across the street
and
from
down the block,
Empire Roller,
Empire
one
Roller.
block over and across the street.
That club is where What One Dance Can Do got its bus.
Barris Hammond.
That's where that song started from.
And you said
Empire Inn.
That was your first residency.
Yes.
On Empire Boulevard.
Yes.
What year?
I don't know, 86, 85, 86. I can't remember. I think it was maybe the Christmas time of 85.
See, now I'm learning
Somewhere
new stuff
around.
that I didn't even know about. Because, all right,
Yeah.
I know about Act 3 in the Bronx. I know about Love People. Where was Love People?
Love People's down the block, Washington and Empire. That was the home of DJ Carlton and DJ Paul. Frano, Winston, and them guys had that place, and that was Baby Underground.
So also on Empire Boulevard.
Yes.
So Empire was the place.
Empire was the place. That was the strip. That's where it happened. And down the block was Esquire Hall. The one that got shot up years later.
I'm sure many of them
We won't go
up.
into detail about that
I'm sure
one,
many
but
of them have been shot up
all
on
of
various
these
occasions.
as a matter of fact, before I was a resident at Empire Inn, Club Illusion, I played at Esquire first. And that's where I met Gary, whose father was one of the owners of Empire. And that's actually how I wound up there. And that was pre the name Sting International.
What was your DJ name
Shawnee
before
D.
that? Shawnee D.
It was community, And then Gary came up, because Gary was a friend of mine, David, who said, my father got a club down the block, man. DJ team, come and play. All right, whatever. So,
all right.
He had a couple of friends. They were, aspiring DJs or whatever. So I literally just took the names, initials, threw another letter in and came up with Sting. And then put International on it, and it was Sting International. It sounded big.
Yeah, it sounds way better. You put an International at the end of anything.
Shawnee D was going out anyway because everybody was something D, and this, that was hip hop style.
Right. Yeah.
So that's how the name Sting International came about. And
because you have one of those, it's obviously predates it, but like a Vibes Cartel name. Your name is the name of a crew.
Right.
So it's always assumed, I certainly did when I first heard the name, Sting International.
Yeah, and it still is. I've turned it into a business, and it's a brand, and people say Sting, because I was the guy who really played the music all the time, so I got branded as Sting. But Sting International was a sound system name. And it's still family, crew,
So tell me about what's your actual, so you were born and raised in Flatbush or you moved to Flatbush?
No, born in Crown Heights, Ebbets Field, straight projects. And then when I left home at 16 and moved to Flatbush.
And so what's your background?
Come on, man. This is my documentary, man. My docu-film.
Saving it for the documentary.
Too much information right here, bro.
Well, I'm trying to show, like I said, you've been entertaining.
I'm a Brooklyn boy.
All right, so we'll
Flatbush,
say that.
Brooklyn,
but
Crown Heights.
also, so people should know this. I was going to save this to wrap up with, but the Sting International documentary is in the works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're just really like scratching the surface and giving people like a little taste of.
I gave you too much already. That's how I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here.
Hold on, we have an hour and 10 minutes and 20 seconds left to go.
All right.
But so the Sting International documentary is in the works and is coming. It's going to dive even further in depth into all of these things that we've been talking about
going
and more.
Every angle as much as possible, because it's not really about me. It's through me, because I've lived it through sound system, dance hall, club, radio, label, owner, club owner, production, developing artists. You know, and I know everyone involved who along the way who helped make it happen, who did what. So I'm bringing the collective of people together to tell the story and the importance of New York and what New York played to reggaeton, why it has reached where it has reached today, and then of course the origins, the whole story. I have to tell it because I'm the only person that I know that lived it through all of these channels.
So one, I certainly agree with that, but also you have this like encyclopedic knowledge of and memory of facts and figures and people and places and songs that a lot of people that live through those times and times like those, the facts are a little hazy for whatever reason.
Yeah, kind of.
But you, I mean, you're one of the people that I certainly call whenever there's like, if I need to know anything about reggae and dancehall in New York in the 1980s and 1990s, there's a few people that I call, but without fail, Sting International has the answer.
I think.
I know.
I remember what I remember. I do my best.
All right. So after this, we're going to talk about the work that Sting International is probably most known for all over the world, which is the production work. But I want to play this one piece of rhythm that Sting International told us you should just mash up the place. No vocals necessary. This is Unmetered Taxi, Sly and Robbie. You're in tune to the Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio. So that's the Unmetered Taxi.
Looks like the sun, it doesn't shine for me.
And people know the rhythm from the many, many songs over the years, sung and DJ'd over the taxi rhythm.
Yeah, well, that actually, the original is Little Roy, Prophecy, which is
Prophecy is the original. That's the first cut.
That's way back.
Yeah.
This is where it came from. And that's the one that Freddie McGregor sung over eventually on the same lick, Steely and Clevie with Foxy Brown, reggae Foxy Brown.
And then over the years, you got Foxy Brown,
Cover Tracy Chapman.
You've got Buju,
Tiger.
Driver, many years later. Tiger.
Well, actually, the first DJ on the rhythm was Lone Ranger.
See, this is what I'm talking
sung,
about. This
and he DJ'd, which is two of my favorites. He sung over Heat Waves. Can't find the reason, you know.
Which then years later, Johnny Osborne.
On Bebo International rhythm. And the DJ was Learn for Drive. Learn for Drive, learn for Drive. You want to save, you want to lie. So big ups to Lone Ranger, which is one of the early DJs who crossed over, who helped DJ even before the success of Michigan and Smiley with Disease and stuff like that. Lone Ranger was the DJ. Then you still had General Echo. Every time I think of somebody, it's somebody before that. But Ranger was the guy who kind of like jumped more into the outside of just the norm of being a DJ. He was like a Professor Nuts at the time, you know?
Well, because originally the concept
lyrical
of the DJ was sort of like after there was a singer on the record, then DJs would do their DJ versions live, which then became recorded. So originally the DJ versions on all of these rhythms and of all of these songs were like almost like a throwaway. The singer version was the real piece, and then it led to the combinations, and then in that Lone Ranger era to there being able to be the DJs being the focus.
Yeah, it was secondary. Definitely was secondary, but the DJ was very important to the music. I mean, I've got to give shouts to the two of the earliest that I know of, being young, Rankin Joe and Mikey Jarrett in New York.
Talk about New York right
These
there.
These guys
Mikey
are like
Jarrett.
soldiers in the trenches doing this stuff long before, the successes of everybody else.
And so then that's probably as you were much younger and even just starting to DJ.
Mm-hmm.
But where I want to get to is the start of the production. And tell me what first, how did you even first start producing?
Well, not knowing I was producing is just making dubs and jingles in the house, with the guys. And the earliest guys, like there was like Daddy Silver, who used to make all my jingles, most of the jingles. And Lloydie Stiff, Screechy Dan, Herbal T, Richie Melody, Daddy Skylar. These are early guys that a lot of people don't know about.
And most having followed your career as a DJ from years before I knew you, most of those names I recognize from productions from Signet Records,
right.
Tanya Records,
right.
Sting International Productions, so,
Nike Fungus, Baja Jed.
So that crew. So what years are we talking then? Now that was the Flatbush crew, right?
Well, production really started maybe 89, 90, but I was doing the dub plate production from the 80s. I mean, I got dub plates in Spanish from 87. Gringo and Killer Ranks, the Panama crew. That's where Spanish reggae really started from. The Panama crew, Franklin Avenue, Little Panama, East
Panama crew in Flatbush.
Yeah, man, Crown Heights, really. Crown Heights, Flatbush. I mean, Crown Heights and Flatbush is right there. That's Empire and Flatbush is where Crown Heights and Flatbush meets.
And as we're talking
you can say
about
Franklin and Eastern Park, or you can say Lincoln Road and Flatbush. It's all of the same.
But as we're talking about all those clubs we just talked about,
that's where Shinehead got his birth. Lincoln Road, Flatbush. That's.
So then you're in Flatbush at this time, and then coming in from the 80s, mid 80s, doing dub plates and jingles and dealing with all that stuff, and then moving on to just what was the first thing that you would say like you actually produced yourself?
I have no clue. I don't remember.
This is the only thing Sting International doesn't remember.
What's your own song? First? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't even.
Well, this is good. In this dance hall trivia game, I finally stumped you.
I'd have to literally. I don't look at what I do. I don't. Not that I don't care, but for me, it's always go forward.
Well, you do it because I mean, a part of this that in this next hour we'll get to is that you've never stopped doing it. This isn't
right.
I'm not here just to talk about historical things because this is a 2018 current and continuing enterprise that you're engaged in. But so then first in that era, first records you were putting out were with Philip Smart on Tanya, some of them?
Chronologically, I really have to go back.
Just in the ballpark, like in that era, that was the days of.
Yeah, I mean, probably I think the earliest ones that I was doing was, it must be, probably with Signet. Maybe the Red Fox and Naturally Let's Chill, and that track was made.
Which was in the great reggae tradition was a cover of a Guy song, correct?
Yeah, Soul Supreme. Those guys actually made the track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I had to give them credit. But that was one of the earliest ones on Signet. The Tanya label, Philip Smart label, I can't remember if it was right, but because the Hot This Year and all that stuff, Pose Off, Mompy, and all that came out before. Those tracks inspired what Big Up became. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have done Big Up. And Pose Off is one of the first of my earliest productions. It's funny how that happened. We got Hot This Year, when we were going through some tapes, Philip had just came back from Jamaica.
And Hot This Year is Dirt's Man.
Dirt's Man,
yeah.
Papa San's brother.
Yeah.
Philip was going through some tapes and this rhythm came on. You know, and it's dry. You're just hearing like no reverb, no nothing.
No mix down, just like.
I'm like, Philip, what the fuck is this? He said, Philip, you gotta put this shit out. What are you doing? So boom. Next day, just mixed it. Dennis did the edits. And I don't remember. I had some involvement in it, but besides just discovering it on tape. But I took it, played it at the club. I was playing it in Manhattan at the time.
You're just talking about just the rhythm.
Yeah. No.
You had tunes voiced on it.
Dirtsman was the only one on
it.
And I took it, and we actually, you know, this is obviously a couple of weeks after because it was on vinyl, you know, white label. And I'm playing it at the club in Manhattan. And Ricky Warmington was promoting this club. And this is when Shaggy first came around, because Shaggy didn't come around till the 90s, you know. So Fox was already, you know, he was in the party and whatever, and played Hot This Year. And, you know, me, when I'm introducing something, I usually go into the version first, if the version is wicked. And I'm playing it, and all of a sudden, I think Shaggy missed a run up to the booth. Yo, Star, which rhythm, not which rhythm? I'm like, it's Philip. I said, no, there's us, you know, can get on it. So I called Philip and booked some time and took the crew over there. And we came up with Pose Off, came up with Mompi, you know, and that was the first, like, and this time Shaggy was still in the military. So he didn't even know that the song was blowing up. When
so he recorded it, flew out.
Yeah, went back to, because he could only sneak out on weekends or something like that. Had to get back. He AWOL'd like 5 million times, but, you know, he had to come get the records done. That was only to get it done. And recorded those tracks and just threw them out. I mean, the funny story is Philip never liked Pose Off.
What?
Yeah, man. He didn't really like it. It didn't come out. It didn't. But I was on Kiss.
So Pose Off they didn't press it on
came
the
up
record
after.
originally.
Yeah, he came, Mampi and one or two others came out. And I'm like, Phil, you know, Pose Off. It's like, Is it all right? And I took it, played it on Kiss. Then the call started coming into VP. And VP's calling Phil, yo, they're getting orders for this Red Fox and Naturally. And then he had to press it. You know? So that's Pose Off almost didn't come out. Like, It Wasn't Me almost didn't come out.
Well, Pose Off is again one of these like monumentally important, just like to me personally, but also in the evolution of dancehall. And if you had to go through your reggae and dancehall files and get rid of almost everything and keep like 20 important records, like this is gonna be in there.
Pose Off, yeah. And it's funny because that song, it was a local hit for a long time. It wasn't until the Spanish market embraced it, because we used to, you know, it was around the way. It was when like Gungi Rivera gave me a call one time and said, yo, I'm going to get reggae into the Spanish market. And he started booking. These are the guys that helped break reggae into the Spanish market. Red Fox, Screechy Dan. From that record, from that song.
Well, let's play it. It's Pose Off, Red Fox, Screechy Dan, Federation Sound, Max Glazer, Sting International.
Yeah, Pose Off, and then pump shots. Man, the man say you turn load of ass. What's Screechy Dan, Red Fox in your one class? What's this?
Girls, you look so sharp. Anytime you pass in the pum pum shop. It's true.
What's the girl Screechy man? Tell her again.
Girl, you touch my heart. Anytime you pass in your pum pum shot.
And girl, them wide out.
Run things, rude boy.
Pose Off, yeah, your pump shots. Make the man then know, so you saw Pose Off. Yeah, your pump shots. Make the man then know, so you saw. What's the girl in them pump shots? No young gentleman just can't pass. Body so big, it a broke your eyeglass. Them man girl can't fight, no go off. You know the aeroplane, them a fight first class. Pose Off, you know your pump shots. Make the man then know, so you saw Pose Off. You know your pump shots. Come down scratch it and come touch the girl's heart.
Girls, you look so sharp. Anytime you pass in your pum pum shot.
What's the girl in back your roll, man? Pull up.
Girl,
a joke.
So girl, you touch my heart anytime you pass in your boom boom shot.
6 day a pass if you look, man. Watch this. Say, what if you jump on Palafa? Jump on Palafa. Jump on Palafa in a boom boom sauce. Jump on Palafa. Jump on Palafa. Jump on Palafa in a boom boom. Watch the girl them come out looking extra fit. You know the pop up shots and them look stylish. Them just a walk and a wind up them hip. You know the pump pump shots them a jump and a skip. So all of the girl them take this as a hip the car. And me I hear from them and them lip is.
Girls, you look so sharp anytime you pass in your boom boom shot.
Jesus Christ, man, get them out to kill me then. What's the scripture, man? Come again.
Girls, you look so sharp. Yes, me have to put your number one fan the boom boom shot.
Think it's joking. Girl, muggle for them, man. Get them see, man.
Pose Off. Not only one of my favorite songs, but Red Fox and Screechy Dan are two of my favorite people in the entire world.
Oh yeah, those bona fide. That's family.
And I only know them for about 15, 16 years. And we're talking about back to these days, not only part of the crew, but from then till now, still making music together.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm working on right now. I can play some exclusives after the show.
After the show. I have Fox on the show. Yeah, I've had Fox and Screechy on the show. Long time ago.
Oh, I just want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Thank you for playing the records at the proper speed and for more than 30 seconds, which is a rarity nowadays.
More inside info. So DJ thing. Well, so look, in that everyone.
I just got to say, maybe I can influence other DJs.
No, I mean, I
let the record play.
I appreciate. Well, we've got, we're doing a radio show and it's to kind of illustrate the points of what we're talking about.
Any given time.
And in all fairness, but this is on +2.
Yeah, but
that's the right amount.
That's the margin, though.
You give it a little tempo.
Exactly. You don't make everything sound like chipmunks. I can watch Disney whenever, I don't want to hear it.
Well, what's even worse now is because all the software has key correction, so people play it even faster, and because technically it's still quote unquote.
And then the bass is baffled, and it sounds like you're hearing the music underwater, anything under 80 hertz, and it sounds like shit.
I'm with you. +2 to +4. I have a thing. Depending on the rhythm and the song itself, some things can speed up a little more.
Yeah.
Some things lose their entire swing.
Exactly. Reggae should be reggae, and soca should be soca.
And dancehall should be dancehall.
Yes. Well, reggae is dancehall.
Right in the middle.
It is what it is. Reggae is dancehall. It's just dancehall is a place. We just play music in the dancehall, even though they're giving it a title. It is still reggae, no matter how you look at it. But reggae should be reggae, played at reggae speed. Dancehall or reggae, whichever one you want to call it. Soca should be soca.
Yes.
Again, DJs. Play the record. There's a reason why records are produced at a certain tempo and pitch and key. Not to be turned into something else. It is very annoying, and it's not just me as a DJ or producer. I am a dancer, and I live amongst dancers. It is very annoying playing records at 5 fucking million miles an hour.
Public service
and talking on top of the shit. Cut the shit, please. Thank you.
Small amount of talking.
Forward
where appropriate.
Thank you. Just had to get that.
Just had to get that off your chest. Jose, this is the thing. Like he said, he doesn't do a lot of interviews.
I keep it 100, man. I don't give a shit.
You don't talk to people a lot, so like that stuff gets bottled up. You got to let it out.
I go out, I listen, but there's the reason why I don't go out to a lot of places. Besides just the sound system. The DJ, you're presenting music to people. You have to represent the music. If you altering and changing it and playing it for 10 seconds and talking on top of it and it's 500 miles an hour, you're doing it for yourself.
Well, this is a good point in this interview. I really want to get back to where we were in the dance hall, which was, you said really Pose Off was the step before Big Up, which was the first big record that you and Shaggy made.
Yeah, after the success of Hot This Year and Pose Off, I wanted to do something else, And I got involved with Ben Sokolov, who was a brother of Will Sokolov, who had Sleeping Bag Records, Fresh Records. And we put this label together called Signet.
And so for people who may not know those labels, but that was like the original home of EPMD,
yes,
Just Ice, a good amount of New York dance music and freestyle.
Absolutely.
That was a
Dinosaur L, Go Bang,
incredibly important independent
Mantronics,
like incredibly important independent
Todd Terry,
New York label. We could do a whole nother show about
Kenny
this.
Dope. We all kind of started really out of that same office, you know. So it was a crazy beginning, you know.
So then you guys came together.
As starting a label, it's more than just producing. You're producing, but I'm always willing to experiment, branch out, whatever. So we went by Todd Terry's crib, heard a couple of joints, and then I said, "No, I want to do a dancehall thing again." So I went to check Raphael Allen, who was responsible for a lot of trade. Raphael Allen and Nasty, along with Dennis Halliburton, but Raphael and Nasty are like the Steely and Clevie of New York. They did Koof. You know, I could just Cabin Stabbing. I can go down the line of the amount of hits that these guys were doing, rhythm tracks. So we went to check Raph, and I walk into Raph, the house, Raph's crib, and he's got this track playing. Nothing on it. I'm like, yo, that's it. I want that right there. Just give me that file. So I took the file, the drum track, and then I just let it marinate a little bit in my head and took it to the studio, Philip, and then just came up with similarity to Lockjaw, the bass line, and it started putting all the effects on it, and it became a rhythm. So me and Raph did that rhythm, Big Up, and then I recorded first. That was it was just Shaggy on it. It was just Big Up. There was no Raven hook on there, but something was missing because I still have those tapes. I still have the original tapes of just Shaggy on Big Up, and something was missing. We decided to call Rayvon to put a little different flavor on it, and then Rayvon just came out the box with for Big Up, Big Up.
Yo, because really, as big, and you know, I'm sure he won't feel bad because Shaggy's had many international hits following it. It's an amazing story to hear that, because that's really a Rayvon record. The punch and what catches you.
Yeah, you for Big Up, Big Up. You know, the rest. That's why I said something was missing. I mean, even though we had Shaggy, it was a Super Cat style. Something was missing, and Rayvon came in, and boom, that was it. And, you know, it was it. Just took it to the studio and did the rest. Mixed it, mastered it, and put it out. And then it was a hit.
It's as easy as that. You make it sound so simple.
Well, I mean, when you hear it, you hear it. You got to have the ear first. But then you have to have the ability to... You hear it before it's done. Then you have to say, all right, well, how do I get from what's in here onto the tape? And that's where sounds come in, as far as picking the right sounds, picking the right people, mixing it, you know. It really starts in here. And you know where you want to go with it. And your aim is to get it from here to here.
But that's the interesting thing, is like what you just said, is it's not, you need to get this thing that you hear in your head out, but it's not just you alone that can really like execute that it is this whole team where you're talking about picking the people.
It's all about the team. And no matter how you can be the baddest producer in the world, but you need the right team to, you know, you can sit there and do it all by yourself. Blah, blah, blah. Only guy I know that's like that, Dave Kelly.
Yeah,
he's an alien.
Right.
You know, yeah. But he's still, a lot of people don't realize, a lot of those Beanie records, Saw, Bounty Killer, Dave wrote those.
Oh,
besides producing them, he wrote those.
Absolutely.
But you still need the artist to deliver them. So it still becomes a team at the end of the day.
But I think like that's one of the things that is definitely evident in what you do, is not just someone who you know physically makes the sounds as a producer, but in the broader sense of what someone like Quincy Jones does in kind of like not only bringing all the elements together, but kind of envisioning that you even need those elements in the first place in order to achieve this goal of something that you can hear, that something that only you can hear, that you've imagined.
Yeah. It is what it is. I can't explain it. I just do it.
Well, I'm glad you thought of this one. This one is Big Up, Shaggy, Rayvon. It's the Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio, Max Glazer, Sting International.
Now this song dedicated to all women and the place to speak up for yourself. Man, the man them know say that you fat, you puff, extra puff and rough. Shots man and rave on this one, new brand bound to come number one. Watch it.
And you feel big up, all of the woman them big up, all of the girl them big up, all of the woman them big up, boy.
See me now, match it, cock up, titty nipple, stand up, fierce. Favor Apache full of peer makeup when she walk on street, I would up a man big demo. Big up, big up. Girl, you fat and you buff, girl, you fat and you buff, expensive and a rubber put you on and out of here and just big up. Girl, if you fat and you buff and know you come, but put you on and out of here and just big up. Girl, if you fat and you buff another virgin fluff and put you on and out of here and just big up. Girl, if you fat and you buff and you buff out up, put you on and out of here and just big up. Say what? Jump and skin out cause you know say you're sexy. Shout it out cause you have the winery. Ball it out you big thick and healthy. The rock you have a man it cost only for money. Your hairstyle man it look well fancy. Tell you all of them say you have your man already. Your face don't look like the overnight monkey. It not paint up just like a party. Come take it from the one named Shaggy. Tell the world you big thick and healthy. Fat and you buff expensive and rubber put you on and out of here and just big up. Girl if you fat and you buff and know you come first put you on and out of here and just big up. Girl if you fat and you buff and you wap out up put you on and out of here and just big up.
Well, I don't want no man tell me woman no noise, hey. And I don't want no man tell me woman no sweet, hey, hey. Don't want no man tell me woman no nice, woman no nice. Don't want no man tell me woman no sweet, hey. Well, if you big up, now your pum pum shot, big up, your body lick shot, big up, now your cat to man suit, big up, mini skirt look cute.
So me say Brooklyn man help me big them up and Marvally man help me big them up and New York man help me big them up and Flatbush massive help me big them up and big up yourself because you fat and you buff you big up. Tell them say that you fat and you buff you big up. Tell them you are the crowd of puff you big up. Tell them you expensive and rough you big up.
Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio, here with Sting International.
Yeah.
That record is just one of those incredible dancehall records that really like defines the genre, defines New York dancehall, which I really feel like is a lot of, not your whole story, but one piece of your story is definitely like you were talking about of like New York, the New York Jamaica connection and how important New York was in dancehall reaching the next level that it reached.
Yeah. It's just
we're just making music.
That's all it was, man. That's all it was. We're just making music. We love it. The passion was there. For me, the focus was never about famous and rich and, you know, whatever. I grew up with nothing pretty much, or just getting by. And I'm used to that, you know, still to this day. Money buys nice things. Can't buy your health, can't buy your life. It can make you comfortable, but the focus is not a bag of money. It's music.
No, absolutely separate from the money, but to hear in 2018, see a song like that you guys made in, what is that, 91, 92?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
You know what I'm saying? To have lived the life that it's lived.
And still get beat to death.
Every time. And to see those guys touch a stage and perform that.
Well, you know, to do comparisons. This to me is like if you go to an R&B party, what are you going to hear? Maze, Before I Let Go. If you go to a little older party, you might hear Staple Singers, I'll Take You There. These are records that weren't top number ones, but they're records that lasted the test of time. You know, this is one of those records that's just like, it's just there. It's just there. And you got to play it. You know? And I love it. And is again, like, within the genre, timeless. Yeah, well, I don't aim to make timeless records, but it's just, I know when I'm making something, if it sounds too marginal, whether it's just for now or it sounds dated, whatever, and I'll just scrap it because I don't want to do a record that's going to last a little bit or it's going to be tomorrow's trash, you know? So I just do it, whatever. There's no science to it. Just do it, whatever. When it feels right, when you hear it, you know it's right. And you just follow through. And keep doing it, and keep doing it, and keep doing it. As long as I can. Well, please continue doing it. All right. So
like, I was kind of saying that in the break while we were playing it, that it's interesting to see, you know, as big as Shaggy has become, sort of some of the ones before that where Pose Off is a bigger record than Mompi on the rhythm. Mm-hmm. And so to see that happen, and then Big Up comes along, which kind of, that's really like the start of the next
snowball effect.
Yes, of the snowball effect of Shaggy just becoming this huge international star. There's like, as you were just saying, like, there's no way you guys could have imagined when making this music that it would lead to places like that. Or did you?
Well, the one who really had the international vision was Robert Livingston. He was a former manager of Supercat. And when I did Oh Carolina.
And so sorry, just for the record nerds who remember the Don Dada album cover.
Oh yes.
It's them on the running boards of a 1930s car. Yes. And there's Supercat with the Tommy gun, and then Robert Livingston is on the other is also on the car with him.
Right. Well, the two people that knew that Carolina was the international smash was Robert and Peter McKenzie. Again, because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, and everybody from the crew, we knew that Baja Jed's record, Bedwork Sensation, was the one.
That was the hit.
We knew it. That was it. That was a street record. But we like, this is the one. You know, but Peter and Robert, I don't Carolina. But again, them being more, well, Robert especially being more exposed to the international market, knowing that Old Folks Brothers tune, and he could see, you know, England, because he frequented England a lot.
And it's one of those things of the more you travel and see the world, you're able to kind of understand what works in different places.
Which I gotta give props to Robert, because Robert used to bring records back and forth from England too. If it wasn't for Robert, I wouldn't have gotten Life Is What You Make It in my hand.
The actual record.
He brought that record over. He brought that record over to Superpowers in the box with a bunch of other records. Only about 3 copies, didn't have a label on it. I only knew it was Colonel Wright and Friday because, number one, they had the name on the B-side, and I already knew their voices from their earlier records, Ragamuffin Girl and Pretty Pretty, which is a big Love People one hit. So he brought the record in, and I got the copies, and I played it on the turntable. There was another DJ with me across the counter at the time. He's like, play that tune. I said, yeah, all right. I already had plans because this is something different. It's something new. I heard the vibe. So I took the record home. I made a cassette with it because that's what I used to do, make cassettes back in the days and help promote the music. But when I took it to the underground that Friday, I think I was playing probably down in Jamaica. And this is different, but it's kind of, you know, it's weird.
It's weird. It's like a similar tempo, but the swing of the rhythms is very different.
So I knew I couldn't just throw it on with 2,000 motherfuckers in the room. So I literally just came in with the version, nice and easy, let the version play, and let that bubble for about 5 minutes until people got used to it. And then I just eased in the vocal a little bit. You know, life is whatever. Let it play and then pull it right back out. Then let them get used to the music again. And then I just dropped it on them like a bomb. And I played the record for like 20 minutes. And then I played it like 3-4 times the night. And it was instant underground anthem. And that was Life Is What You Make It. That was the beginning. And then Murray signed it to Profile eventually, and then that's the record that got us on Kiss FM.
Well, big up Murray Elias, of course, every time.
And big up Robert for bringing the record into the country.
Right. So okay.
So back to
that.
Livingston.
So Robert had the international sensibility. So then when he decided to push that one, how did that record take the life that it's taken?
Well, he took it and he signed it to Greensleeves. And it blew up. And the next thing you know, we had a Virgin deal on the table. And then at that time, we had it was like a 3-album deal or something like that. But, the deal was signed for $1 million. And that was unheard of in reggae at the time. So it was some, history in the making. And it was number 1 on some Billboard charts or whatever in England. And, actually, but you know what? Even before that, I got to give credit to Clinton Lindsay. It was a number 1 on the Clinton Lindsay's reggae chart in New York City before anybody else took notice. And this is when it was just on our label, the Signet label. So, Clinton Lindsey's the first one to help us bring Shabba up to the underground. So yeah, it was Clinton Lindsey's a big part of New York radio too, and the whole shaping of this. There's so many people I can mention, but again, these are the people I gotta give their props to, because nobody was playing New York artists. Nobody was giving us no love. It was, and even before the Red Fox and the Screechies, you had Trevor Sparks, you had Junior Wilson, you had Sluggy. There was even Supercat. Supercat was still considered a New York artist at the time. So most of the radio guys weren't playing New York reggae with Mr. Do and Rikers Island, stuff like that. This is only after we got on KISS where I was able to play our music. Not saying that our music, their music, but I was able to play New York artists and New York producers' music because it was good music.
But that was what took this New York reggae energy to the world.
Because we had a different feel.
Right, and that meeting of that and Jamaica is, like you said, this kind of gateway to a lot of this international.
And I can expand on it a lot more, but I'm going into the documentary.
We'll save that for the documentary.
Yes.
All right, so basically we're talking about Carolina being this jumping off point of like the next level. Now, I'm going to turn a little bit left here because people know Carolina. They've heard that one tons. So what I want to do is play the Baja Jed Bedwork Sensation, which was the one that really, like you said, set the rhythm off and set up the opportunity for Carolina.
That was the first one on the rhythm.
This is Bedwork Sensation, Baja Jed. It's the Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio.
Sensation, that's what she get. Fingernail in my back, so baby do not fret. Bedbook, sex sensation that she get. Fingernail in my back, so baby do not fret. Madman loving, she get it better than the rest. We pop in, she starts squeal. Got this sex appeal, I no dream, she a dream. Yes, it's real, she's not to chewing like a train. She's in too much pain, sexual feeling. Look how she body trembling, just like a weight cat on the wheel shivering. Bedbook, sex sensation that she get. Fingernail in her way back, so baby do not fret. Bedbook, sex sensation that she get. Fingernail in her way back, so baby do not fret. Feeling the agony, the time jockey make she scream and squeal like a rat baby. Proposing her, she want to marry. Put ring pan finger, she want to hold on me. Remember me on things of the bedrock control. Goosebumps that she get, she body freezing cold. Me discharging like a bell, she a ring bang. Beating ping, telling me she love me. Look at my eyes, all and tight, oh she want me badly. Bedrock sex sensation, that's what she get. Fingernail in a way back, so baby do not fret. Bedrock sex sensation, that she get. Fingernail in a way back, so baby do not fret. Stay.
All right, this 2 hours is flying by, so I need to start moving this story along a little bit. Like you said, you need to for the full thing. Look out for the Sting International documentary. But so that was the first couple of steps in Shaggy's career that we talked about, and this just kept growing at an insane pace and rate. So you signed a 3-album deal with Virgin, right? Mm-hmm. And so then there was Carolina. Then what was next?
As far as hits,
yeah.
I mean, what in between that, we had a hit with Maxi Priest, That Girl. That was a big hit for Maxi. And we got to skip past that because the next hits were on MCA Records, massive hits. And skip Virgin.
So we're done with that. 3 albums.
I mean, you had like Hey Sexy Lady. Sexy Lady, but I mean...
But that's 3 albums over how many years? Over many years.
I don't remember.
But it wasn't boom, 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 1, 2, 3, because Sexy Lady was many years.
Oh, no. Sexy Lady was on MCA. Right, okay. Right. So, whatever. After Virgin, that was, couple of years, and then because Boombastic was what 95, and then we talking 2000 when Wasn't Me.
Hold on, I don't want to get up that far because I definitely want to play Boombastic.
Okay, well, Boombastic, that was 95.
So there was Boombastic, and then the Sting International remix.
The remix, which landed the American success.
Was this like a higher, new level of success for you guys at that point, or was everyone just used to it then?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I didn't look at it. I was still playing parties. I didn't, I made records and they played. It's good to have them embraced and everything, but I wasn't like focusing on, we're big now,
But at this point, like, and I don't know, maybe this comes from your musical background, what you grew up listening to, but records like Boombastic and especially his remix definitely have a pretty broad sensibility to them.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's the music content and the way to be able to match the vocal or the style of vocal on top of that type of music and make it feel like it belongs together. You don't just throw a vocal on top of a beat and it works. It has to mesh.
But it is kind of this thing of taking things that you don't necessarily assume are going to be natural together.
Absolutely.
That's part of the formula?
Well,
not to give away too much.
Not necessarily. I just do it. If I hear it, not everything I hear works. I try it, and if it doesn't work, I find something better. Because that sample is a Marvin Gaye sample. And it was a throw up between that or Isley Brothers.
So do you have a version? Did you work this idea out with an Isley Brothers sample as well?
No, I just had them looped at home. Isley Brothers, Marvin Gaye. I'm like, which one is going to work? And then we decided to go with the Marvin Gaye because that was my favorite soul music, for a long time. Let's Get It On. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going with that. That's the vibe. It was sexy.
Can't lose. This is Boombastic. It's the Sting International remix. The Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio.
Mr. Boombastic. We want is a bombastic, romantic, fantastic lover. Shaggy. Mr. Lover. Now Mr. Lover. Girl. Mr. Lover. Now Mr. Lover. She call me Mr. Boombastic, send me fantastic. Touch me on me back, she says I'm Mr. Romantic. Call me fantastic, touch me on me back, she says I'm Mr. Smooth, just like a silk. Soft and cuddly, hug me up like a quilt. I'm a lyrical lover, now take me thin filled with my sexual physique. You know me well, do me, oh my, well, can't you tell? I'm just like a turtle crawling out of my shell. Girl, you captivate my body, put me under a spell. With your couscous perfume, I love your sweet smell. You're the only young girl who can ring my bell, and I can take rejection. So you tell me go to well, I'm bombastic, tell me fantastic. Touch me on my back, she says I'm Mr. Romantic, call me fantastic. She touch me on my back, she says I'm Mr. Boom, bombastic. Tell me fantastic, touch me on my back, she call me Mr. Romantic, tell me fantastic. She touch me on my back, she says I'm Mr. Boom.
Yeah, you can't lose with that.
I gotta give a big shout out and props to Marshall One, who was one of the DJs, one of the artists in the Sting International crew. That some of that style was, you could say borrowed from. Marshall One, big up.
I like that. You always like to give credit to the people who are there.
Keep it 100, man.
And who are involved in it.
Look, it's a team. You borrow styles, you borrow voice, whatever. However it works, it works. But, I give credit to, I have DJ mentors that I took, not necessarily styles from, but, You
learn the thing. That's how you do it.
A little bit here and then you make your own. Who invented cake? But some people make wicked cake. They didn't invent cake.
No,
you take it, you make it your own.
Harley, who invented cake? You looked up seriously, like wait, I have to look something up.
Which icing do you choose?
Right, but this is making hits, and it's it was funny.
Hits that make cake.
It was funny because on the show last week with Barris, he said something really interesting and profound, which was was talking about, I was like, yo, like just everything you make is a hit. You just make hit after hit after hit after so many years. And he was like, look, he was like, I don't make hits. He was like, I just make songs that I like. I make nice songs. He was like, people make them hits.
Yeah. No matter how much you think it's a hit or you love it, it's the people that decide at the end of the day. If it's, if it gets exposed, Now, some people are convinced that records are hits too, when the radio just repeats it and repeats it.
Yeah, but people,
an organic.
This was one of the a light bulb went off when Barris said that. He was like, I don't make hits. He was like, you guys, people. He was like, DJs, people who listen to music. People make hits. You can't tell people
right.
What a hit is, and especially, I think he's got a good perspective on it because that's someone that's got, more hits than most.
He's a hit maker. No matter if he wants to admit it or not, he's a hit maker. I did 2 songs with him. They both worked.
They both worked extremely well. Man,
So-
we just don't have enough time. Hold on, because I want to play. I want to play a piece of both of these. Let's jump into
juggle it.
Let's jump into the
DJ style. Just juggle it
into the Barris story. So we're gonna start this one off with Sweetness, which I never knew that you produced originally.
Yes, made the track, the whole shebang.
All right, so we're gonna go from Sweetness we're gonna bring it almost all the way up to the time into Fight This Feeling, Shaggy alongside Barris, which was a massive hit and a high point in both of their careers a couple of years ago. So we're going to give you guys those 2, and then I'm going to come back and talk some more with Sting International. It's the Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio.
Can this be really true? Oh, how I wish I had you. What up? I wonder what the guys have said to you. Hey, honey, I seriously hope what they're saying is something true. Hope they tell you you've got heaven in your eyes. Saying you're a blessing wouldn't be a lie. And if they didn't call you sweetness, and if they didn't call you niceness, and how about sugar dumpling, then I guess they didn't tell you nothing, no. And if they didn't call you sweetness, and if they didn't call you niceness, and how about sugar dumpling, then I guess they didn't call you nothing, no. Now you come to think, give it to me, do it to me, give it to me, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, no. The way you make me feel from deep down in my soul, I'm losing all control. Girl, I can't fight this feeling. It feels so right. Champagne and candlelight, the way you hold me tight. Girl, I can't fight this feeling. Oh no. Woman, you're nice. Smile on your face is like you're right upon my life. Girl, me can't wait to give you everything you like. Hope you from the day your Christmas sight. I guarantee that you'll be satisfied. Don't be afraid to break the rules and to better things, so tell the little man to cool. I'm the lucky star, I can't believe I found a jewel. And them all ask what you wanna jewel, so make them know say that me have the tool. The way you make me feel from deep down in my soul, I'm losing all control. Girl, I can't fight this feeling. It feels so right. Champagne and candlelight, the way you hold me tight. Girl, I can't fight this feeling. Oh no.
Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio. Yo, Fight This Feeling really kind of like captures the essence of Shaggy and Barris at their best. So to hear the 2 of these incredible talents, international hit makers on that one was definitely a special moment, like as a DJ and a fan of music.
Well, I'll give you a little secret.
Please.
The backgrounds on Fight This Feeling is actually Jimmy Cozier and Robbie Shakespeare.
Robbie's doing backgrounds on that because this is off of the album The Sly Out of Many One Music, which was a Sly and Robbie Presents. Shaggy, what was the technical billing?
Yeah, that's what it was labeled as. You know, doing an album with Sly and Robbie, I had envisioned this 2007-ish, you know. But then it finally came to actually happen. We discussed it, maybe me and Shaggy, around early 2011.
And what year did it finally come out?
2012. Yeah.
And so one, just putting Shaggy together with Sly and Robbie is an incredible thing to begin with, but then you guys brought in this kind of amazing cast of guest artists as well onto the project. And so there are a bunch of highlights from that album, but like I said, Fight This Feeling with Shaggy and Barris goes into the One Drop Lovers catalog of, the way I was saying about Big Up in the dance hall catalog, those things that will play forever. This one goes in the file.
Yeah. It's another one, Next. Did it already, next June.
Next one. Let's make some more of them.
Yeah.
So then, obviously, I know, and the world knows all about your work alongside with Shaggy, and we played. Like I said, I had no idea until we started talking about doing this show that you had produced "Sweetness" for Barris.
Yeah. Props Robert Livingston. He actually was producing the vocal when I was napping out on that session for some reason. I think I was just playing at the club the night before.
You finally needed to get some rest.
Take the vocals for me and finish it.
Well, we appreciate everyone, and like you said,
and big up Dennis Halliburton. He did bing bing on the piano.
Like you said, it's a team. So big up the team on that one for making that happen, because it's one of my that's definitely one of my favorite Barris Hammond records. Yeah. So outside of like your dancehall and reggae work and all of the work that we know with Shaggy, is there production work that's under the radar, or just different styles of stuff that you've been doing along the years? Or
I mean, I've done house music records and stuff like that, dance music.
Just quietly, all the while.
Well, not quietly, but in that arena, it makes noise. It's just that I don't,
But like I said, but you have such a your name as a dancehall and a reggae and international hit producer is such a thing that I don't think people even expect you to, because that's not generally the kind of music that's not going to appear on a pop chart anywhere.
No, I mean, it's just music. I mean, when I did It Wasn't Me and Angel, and making these tracks and making these songs and whatever, those are not, I'm not saying, well, these are pop records. They're just fusioned, and just make a track and with vocals work with it when it feels right. All right, this is cool. And It Wasn't Me almost didn't make the album, bro. That was the night before the album was being mastered. That's one of the first songs I did for the album, and the company didn't see it. Certain folks didn't see it. I got Tonto and Devontae singing it, Wayne Wonder singing it. We tried to give the record away just to prove that it was a hit.
Wow!
And those vocals are demo vocals. The Shaggy and the Rick Rock. Those are demos.
And just ended up with it because
the night before mastering, one of the guys, they gave us a German guy who was in the rock department to be the A&R for the album. That's how much interest.
Well, because at that time, that was not a high point in Shaggy's career. Yeah. So as at the label, nobody cared much at that point, if I remember.
So he came by the house, I played him stuff for the album, and I said, I'm gonna play some shit now that they don't hear. And I played Wasn't Me. And he's like, I'm not an expert, but shout out to Hans Haydel.
Actually, he's supposed to be an expert, though. That's actually his job. But
not in reggae. He's not a reggae expert, even though it wasn't reggae. It had reggae elements. And he said, that thing is a hit. I said, fuck it. I'm gonna finish mixing it. I mixed it that night, went to mastering next day, and said, we're taking this shit off the album, and I'm putting this on.
And It Wasn't Me completely revived Shaggy's career. That was what led to the largest selling album of the career.
That's what gave him his success. The other records were nice records, big records or whatever, but It Wasn't Me and Angel, that's the success.
Put the stamp for eternity.
That's why he still gets tours.
And then interestingly, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I know this story is really that, and then that album came out and wasn't making much noise, and there was maybe a radio station in Hawaii that really on its own just picked up It Wasn't Me, and kind of and that record just the label had kind of said, okay, we're done with this.
The album was like this, about to go on the shelf.
He's holding up his iPhone, putting it on an imaginary shelf.
This is a CD.
It was on its way to the shelf.
They were shelving that album. They put no money in promotion. They didn't care about it. It was like whatever. And then somebody picked it up, put it on the radio in Hawaii, and it started spinning, and the people made it a hit. Came right up, and boom. It's a world anthem, you know.
And also has, like, we'd be having a much different conversation. It wouldn't have taken away from anything, the things that had happened before then.
And I made that beat, both of those beats, in Brooklyn, in my crib. Brooklyn.
As I'm looking at Sting International's computer, which is going to play a very important part in this show, in a very, very short moment, I see a hard drive and 2 Brooklyn stickers on it. So
yeah, it is what it is, baby.
And I myself, for the last, let me say, I don't know, 23, 24 years, probably more than that, 25 or 26, represent Brooklyn. And
welcome to Brook Rock.
It's all about Brooklyn. I mean, and that's where the connection of this energy in this world and dance hall in the 80s into the 90s that really turned all of this into what it is.
Brooklyn brings it. Face it, it is what it is.
There is no question. All right. So now back to your computer.
Yes.
So when I was putting this together, we've kind of gone through a lot of the historical things and the historical documents, and I even asked Sting, and he was kind enough to put a few things on a thumb drive over that so I could load them up onto my computer. But there was one set of things that I asked him that he would not give me to put on my computer. He would not give to anyone. I couldn't give it to Joe. We couldn't even load it up. We couldn't do anything. So if you would be so kind to just dig in the Sting International vaults, in the files, in whatever lane, and just play something for the people who listen to this radio show that they cannot hear anywhere else in the world.
I can give you one exclusive mix that I've done that the world hasn't heard outside of my parties.
All right, so don't even say what this is. We'll talk about it when we come back. It's the Federation Sound, Red Bull Radio, Max Glazer, Sting International.
Love and hate can never be friends. Oh no. Oh no. Here I come with love and not hatred. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of our life. Envy no one, no wish to be with no evil man. For there'll come the day when you'll be whipped by the father's hand. Leave up roots children. Oh yeah. Leave up Rasta children.
Red Bull Radio.
Yeah. My head is anointed and my cup runneth over. Yeah. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of our life. Yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Live up good children. Oh yeah. Live up Rasta children. Here I come with love and not hatred.
You're listening to Red Bull
Surely
Radio.
goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of our life. Envy no one, no wish to be with no evil man.
Wow. Pull
Exclusive.
that one. Wow, hold on. All right, now I understand why you wouldn't give that to anyone else in the room or in the world for that matter.
Tons of files and mixes and
All right. Don't show off. Let's talk about that one.
That I just got to keep safe.
All right,
Let's just saying.
tell me about that one. How does All right, first tell people what the song is.
That's Here I Come. Dennis Brown, one of the biggest vintage Dennis Brown selections that you can play in any dance.
All right. And how does that mix of Here I Come by Dennis Brown come to exist?
Well, I have original multi-tracks. I did it years. This is ages ago I did this.
He says, oh, well, you have the original multi-tracks of one of the biggest Dennis Brown songs ever.
Well, it's a New York tune.
That's an international. It's a New York tune, yes. that is also an international tune.
Yeah.
Where do you? I mean, give me a little story about this.
It's HCNF. You know the producers. You know that label owners, and
that record was recorded at HCNF. That's amazing. I never knew that was recorded in New York, in Long Island.
Hey, bro.
So when did you do that mix down?
I don't know.
Years ago, though.
Yeah, 90s, very early 90s.
90s. So you only played by Sting International.
That's it.
So if you wanted to hear that, you had to be in a Sting International dance.
Mm-hmm. Still do.
Jeez.
Except maybe here a little bit, but.
Except get a piece of it here on Red Bull Radio. Yo, I really appreciate that, because there's one thing that I know about Sting from even before that we've actually known each other is he keeps these musical treats close to the vest.
Absolutely.
And that definitely comes from those 80s, 90s days of, the record collector days, and a lot of people wouldn't have the same records that you had, and like you said, the only place where people could hear certain things was if they came out to hear you play or tuned in to hear you on the radio.
I have quite a few unreleased versions or just songs that didn't come out, but from a lot of producers, because they trust me with the music. Steely, I have Tiger records that didn't come out, all kind of stuff, different passes of Michael Prophet, acapellas of records you would.
All right. Don't show off.
I'm just saying.
I know.
But I keep my shit safe. I don't be sharing files.
All right. So back to the DJing. So it's not very often anyone could even gets to hear you DJ. When do you come out and so first of all, there's two levels to this. What brings you out on the rare occasion to come out and play reggae?
The right venue. It's really the venue. And the ability to actually bring a sound system and play it the way it should be played. But
so now in the last couple of years, I feel like maybe this has been a once a year thing, Christmas or New Year's party you guys did in Long.
There's no.
But this last year you guys did a reggae night in Long Island, right?
Yeah.
You and Ricky.
Yeah.
See,
just whenever vibe is right.
It's another thing about Sting.
Vibe is right.
Another thing about Sting International, where we're talking about Ricky Warmington, who was the promoter for these clubs from before you even started, and up till right now.
Still doing it.
I could go see you and Ricky Warmington in the dance together.
Team is a team, man. Loyalty is everything. Some have it, some don't.
And then to get
some pretend to have it until
And then to get a little out of the reggae lane, people also might be able to go out and hear you play some deep house and some classics as well.
Mm-hmm.
How often does that happen?
Never got the right venue and the right energy. It's all about the venue, and then be able to have the atmosphere for the music you're playing. Inconvenience for the people to get there,
Now you guys, for a minute, you haven't done it in a couple of years, used to do a once a year outdoors at Coney Island, right? Is that going to be coming back?
It's, got to be easy to do, time constraints, I'm not coming out to do a party for 3 hours, 4 hours. I need extended hours.
It's funny, most people are the opposite way. They go, I only want to play for 1 or 2 hours. What's your minimum if I want to convince you to come out to play?
6 to 8 is, Why am I going to bring a big set to play for 6 hours?
I remember one time I had a club that we were doing weekly that I thought had like a good sound system. It was brand new. And I called Sting and I was like, yo, we got this place. I was like, yeah, if you want to come out and play some reggae one night. He's like, oh, what's the place? I told him the name of the place. He was like, that sound system is shit.
Man. I keep it 100, bro.
I know, but then I know one day it's a rare occasion and a rare treat if people get to come out and hear Sting International juggle some music.
Yeah, I guess you gotta appreciate it for what it is. Because if you're used to today's juggling with a bunch of screaming and covering the music, sound effects, and 500 miles an hour and for 30 seconds, I don't do that shit.
So keep your eyes and ears peeled to Facebook. You might be able to catch Sting International on the Thunder sound system somewhere in the area. And at some point, we're going to be able to watch this documentary, correct?
Yeah. I'm taking my time. I'm in no rush because I've started a new chapter right now in the music, the journey. So I may not.
You just built a new studio.
Well, it's being done. I got productions going on and label. Shit is happening. So I'm not just going to say, all right, I'm still shooting. Absolutely. But this is not the end. And there will be no end of a documentary unless I kick the bucket tomorrow.
Don't do that.
Yeah, well, I don't have any control over that. But if I don't, then there's another chapter to be recorded and, maybe the next level.
Well, I can speak for the world of music fans that we've been enjoying all of the chapters up to this point. Looking forward to the next chapter. Looking forward to the documentary. Thank you for coming in and taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Because I know you don't normally come out and talk about
this.
These
is a
things.
first. This is a first. I've done a little billboard recently.
Big up Pat Moschino.
Yes, big up Pat, Murray Elias. And, I did a little something for a couple other folks. No, one other team.
Well, I've been talking to you about this for a while.
This is the first actual sit down and discuss in any kind of depth.
And we'll just call it round one, the warm up for the documentary.
Bing, 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 bing.
Sting International, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to play one more thing. We're going to finish this up because, as we were just saying, Brooklyn is really the heart and soul and the foundation of all of this. And we talked about a lot of things from the 80s through the 90s through the 2000s. But ultimately, the point is that this is continuing. We're not just talking about historical things. So I'm going to play something really recent that Sting International produced, straight out of Brooklyn, alongside Red Fox from the original family, the original crew. And that's going to be the last word for this one. This one is Brooklyn Swing, Red Fox. It's the Federation Sound, Max Glazer, alongside Sting International.
Show the town fly like a rocket, them can't stop it, and the whole planet a bucket to see it. Better know how we do it. Red Fox. They on the blocking and the Brooklyn swing. They on the blocking and the Brooklyn swing. They on the blocking and the Brooklyn swing. We big up Queens, Bronx, Gallatin. Say Brooklyn are the place where me get my fame. Flatbush are the place where me start to reign. Biltmore are the place where me make my name. Them time them Maxima and some long rope chain. When me Silicon Valley and me the girl them claim. As me heard the big vines that touch up them brain. 90s Flatbush beer gunshot rain. Vanderveer bedside Crown Heights the same. If you know so we walk through enough blood stain. Yes we do it for the love, we not do it for fame. Big up on my talks, span top of them game. Who no squander them money, no for use the brain. Double it up and triple up and make the money start stain. Buy house and land and a aim for plane. All our vibes and boss are one champagne. We all our vibes and boss are one champagne. They on the blocking and the Brooklyn swing. They on the blocking and the Brooklyn swing. They on the blocking and the Brooklyn swing. We big up Queens, Bronx, Gallatin. Church Avenue and them link up Sting. Turn on the sound and them vines a thing. Don't play it in a stock underground juggling. Have the whole place a rock, watch the girls bubbling. They say yes, Red Fox.